Okay, so the next joint that I'd like to talk about is going to be the shoulder joint, and the actual technical anatomical term for the shoulder joint is going to be the glenohumeral joint. Okay, now this joint is just going to be made up of the humerus and the scapula, and the parts that go together are the head of the humerus and the glenoid cavity of the scapula. So those are the articulating surfaces right in there. Okay. Now there's other structures nearby. Okay. And these are going to be important for the attachment of tendons leading to muscles and different ligaments that provide a lot of stability to this joint. You can see it's kind of a shallow surface. You do have a very wide range of motion at this joint. And which gives it, it helps you manipulate tools and different things like that, but it also gives it a lack of stability. And so there are some extra structures. They're listed here, these different ligaments, muscles that help stabilize this joint. Particularly want to point out the rotator cuff muscles. These are particularly important in stabilizing this joint. We'll learn these in the next section of the course, but they are the supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis. A lot of times they are going to be called SITs, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis. Okay, and so those letters stand for the first letter of each name of the muscle. So that's the common thing that is used to help remember that. So let's go through some of these structures and let me help point those out to you. So this is on page 277 of your textbook, and I particularly like this view that's showing a coronal or frontal section through the joint cavity. So a couple of things you need to be aware of is, one, you have this thing called the glenoid labrum. And that's going to be a bit of fibrocartilage that helps extend this articulating surface. Notice here is the glenoid cavity surface, and you're going to have this glenoid labrum that's a little bit of cartilage that helps to extend that surface so that the head is not sitting in such a shallow bowl. Now some other things are the ligaments that are going to help stabilize this joint. Okay, and so this is where some of these other processes of the scapula, so here's the acromion, here's the coracoid process, and here's the clavicle, and all of these are important for stabilizing the shoulder. Keep in mind, if you remember from the last sections, that the only bone-to-bone connection, the only joint that connects your entire arm to the axial skeleton, is found at the medial edge of the clavicle, where the clavicle meets up with the sternum. So the clavicle is going to be very important for stabilizing this joint as well. Okay. All right, so acromion, coracoid process, and clavicle. And the ligament names are based off where they run to. So the acromioclavicular ligament runs between the acromion and the clavicle. You've got two coracoclavicular ligaments, so it runs between the coracoid process and the clavicles. Here you've got coracoacromial, so that runs between the coracoid process and the acromion. Okay? And so these are going to be some of the key ligaments that help to stabilize this joint. Okay. Now you may notice, if we move over here and look at this other view, we're going to see some of these same ligaments. Okay. But you're also going to see some bursa. So because of the bursa, because of the range of motion, there's a great need to reduce friction around these tendons, around these ligaments. And so here you're going to see what's called the subacromial bursa. That means it's deep to the acromion if you look at the name. Okay. Here you're going to have the subscapular bursa, so it's deep to the scapula. All right. And here's the subcoracoid bursa, deep to the coracoid process. Okay, so, and again, you can see some of these rotator cuff muscles here around this joint, and both the muscles and the tendons are going to help stabilize this joint and limit the range of motion somewhat. Okay, and so here's some activities to help you practice labeling and recognizing descriptions of these different ligaments.